All right, so welcome again to the RTP NSBE Open House. Thank you all for coming out. Again, show DJ Ray some love for her sounds that she's spinning over there for us tonight. And we'll go to the next slide. And we'll talk about the things that we have coming up. This is the agenda that we're going to go over. Tonight, we do have a couple of special treats and some individuals who are going to bring us with some special activities. And the next slide. So just some order of how things are going to operate tonight. If you have any questions, you want to chime in, like I said, we do have a packed schedule, so please put your questions in the chat, and you can raise your hand if you want to be called on. We have everyone on mute just so that we can control background noise and make sure this is a user-friendly virtual environment. And again, use the raise hand feature if you have some questions. And also, if you have something you want to contribute, you can just add that in the chat throughout tonight. All right. Next item up, and let's make sure you can go ahead to, yep. I want to make sure everybody does remember and know. If you don't know, if you're new tonight, just real quickly, if you are new tonight, this is your first NSBE meeting, can you raise your hand in the chat? If this is your first NSBE meeting, just raise your hand in the chat. And all you have to do is hit the participants button, hit raise hand. Okay. All right. I see a few first timers. Again, welcome. And I just want to make you aware that you are with an award-winning chapter tonight. RTP NSBE is the 2019-2020 National Professionals Chapter of the Year, and we also were awarded for the Achievement of National Professional Development Program of the Year. And we also got 4 regional awards, but we've had a wonderful last term, and we're going to continue that momentum. We have to operate remotely. So our theme for 2020-2021 is remote and ready for 2020 and beyond. So we had to make some adjustments to be able to continue, but that's what we do as engineers. We solve problems and we keep moving forward. And our next slide up. This is a little bit about the NSBE history. So I know I was anticipating us having some new people here tonight, but just so you know a little bit about NSBE, we say NSBE, and the acronyms are NSBE, and that stands for the National Society of Black Engineers. And NSBE, as we love to call it, was founded in 1975 at Purdue University as the National Society of Black Engineers. And that there is some history behind that, which you can go to the national site, nsbe.org, to learn more about. NSBE was incorporated in 1976, but the founders are known as the Chicago Six, and they're listed there. Some of them, 2 of them are no longer living, but the legacy is definitely still there. And just a little bit more, I think we have another slide too, Elliot, with some more history on it. The symbol, as you can see in the upper right corner, the lightning bolt, that represents a striking impact being felt by the society and industry as a result of the contributions and achievements made by the National Society of Black Engineers. So you may have seen some NSBE paraphernalia and wondering, well, what does all of that mean? And of course, the torch represents NSBE members' everlasting burning desire to achieve success as engineers in a competitive society and positively affect the quality of life of all people. And I do know we have some people that have joined us tonight with specific interests in perhaps launching a NSBE Jr. chapter. NSBE Jr. came along in 1990, or perhaps launching a collegiate chapter, where the collegiate chapters, first one was launched in 1975. And next up is the mission. So maybe hearing that little history will help you better understand the mission. We would typically, in person, have everyone stand and repeat the mission together. But since we are virtual, I would ask you to repeat it there while you are on mute, and I will read it aloud. The mission of NSBE is to increase the number of culturally responsible Black engineers who excel academically, succeed professionally, and positively impact the community. And I will say this, NSBE is open to everyone. We do not discriminate. And you don't have to be an engineer to be a member of NSBE. If you connect with this mission, if this resonates with you, by all means, please let us know tonight. We will be talking more about NSBE and what the organization offers. And if this is something that you would like to be a part of, please let us know and we'll help you get connected. We do have a goal nationally, or internationally rather. We are seeking to graduate 10,000 Black engineers per year by 2025. So along with that mission, we are actually trying to make it tangible, and that will come with launching NSBE Junior chapters, building the pipeline through NSBE Junior, and also allowing that to continue on at the college level, and of course, graduate and get into the professional world. And we talk more about how you can connect with that. There is a shortage of 3.5 million STEM jobs by 2025 as well. So we need everyone who is interested and capable to participate in STEM, regardless of color, origin, religion. We can't discriminate because we need everybody who is capable and able to be able to participate in the needs to solve the STEM problems of the world. And our next slide. This is the NSBE Professionals value proposition. The NSBE Professionals inspire the next generation of technical professionals and serve as a catalyst for transforming the culture of engineering. So this is the call to action to my fellow professional members. This is your charge. We want to inspire the next generation, be that collegiate, NSBE Junior. We need your support, your help, and your involvement, and we need you to be a part of the change. All right, so our very next item of business is to introduce to you the e-board. As I mentioned earlier, my name is Antonia Arnold McFarland. I go by Tony. I am your president. Douglas Davis is the vice president. Renee Johnson is the treasurer. Jamie Fuller is the secretary. And Ray Johnson is the programs chair, and this is the administrative zone. So as we go through tonight, especially if this is your first NSBE meeting or you are a new member to NSBE, you can kind of pay attention to how NSBE is organized. So we have multiple zones, we have several zones, and that's the structure that all NSBE chapters operate under. So this is the administrative zone. And next slide. Additional e-board members we have. Kota Hussein, she's our Collegiate Initiative Chair. Jonathan Winstead is the Telecommunications Chair. And Joy Martin is the Public Relations Chair. And based on how things went in 2019-2020, man, we didn't have enough bandwidth to do everything that we needed to do. It was a stretch. So we added some additional support. So we have co-chairs who will support the chairs. Richard Gilliam is the CI co-chair, and he's also taking some special focus on developing the scholarship program. Kim Wooten was our telecommunications chair last year, and she's going to stay on and support Jonathan as the co-chair. And Jania McFarland is going to support Joy Martin, and she's going to be and is acting as the public relations co-chair. Next slide. So we have the Pre-Collegiate Initiative Chair, that's Marquise Buford. Our Membership Chair, Elliot Locke. Our Professional Development Chair, Carlin Kearney. Our Torch Chair, Dietrich Bob. And again, we needed additional hands and additional help. So we have Ambria Martin assisting as the PCI co-chair. Tasia Williams as the Membership co-chair. Brian Tweedy as the finance chair, working in the finance zone with the treasurer. And based on the pandemic and the public health concerns, we decided that it would be necessary to have a special appointment of a public health chair. So this individual will work as a liaison between the community and the chapter, helping us to identify opportunities where we can serve specifically in that area. And also, if and when we are able to go back into in-person sessions, that person would be involved in helping make sure that we're doing that in a safe and protected manner. In our next slide. So last year, we launched a NSBE Junior chapter called the Research Triangle Proteges. And at this time, I would like for those individuals, if you are on the call, to come off of mute. And I want to introduce you tonight. And we're going to do an induction for our NSBE Junior members. So I'm actually going to share my screen. I'm sorry, share my video. And if these individuals are here as well, I would like for you to share your video. So Jairus, are you on? Ryan, I see Jairus, I see Ryan, okay. I don't know if I see LJ, is LeVar Brandon on? Or Breland McDonald? Let me see if I see them in the participants. So as I search for the additional members and see if they made it in, Jairus, you can go first. Just mention your school, your grade, and what you aspire to do when you grow up. And take yourself off of mute, Jairus.
Well, I'm a junior at Ravenscroft School. It's in Raleigh, and I hope to be a mechanical engineer. At least that's the field I'm interested in right now.
Excellent. And Jairus, have you thought about a college yet? Have you decided, or what schools are you looking at?
I looked at some schools, particularly like A&T, UNC Greensboro. Those are the main two schools I've looked at. I'm still looking at some more. Yeah, I'm still making sure that mechanical engineering is the thing I really want to do. Just so, I mean, I know I can switch, but I really don't want to have to.
Okay. Well, thank you, Jairus. You still have a little time to figure it out, and that's why you're NSBE Junior, and that's why you're the president. And just to make everybody aware, the presidents, all officers were appointed and have been appointed for the past, this is the second round, until we are more established and we have a body that can complete the election process. But these individuals have been appointed based on their commitment and their participation over the past year. Thank you, Jairus. Is Breland on? I see Breland signed in.
I am.
Hi, Breland. How are you?
I'm great.
Can you please tell everyone the school you attend and what grade you're in and what you would like to do when you get out of high school, when you go to college?
Okay. I'm currently a sophomore at Wake Early College of Health and Sciences. After I finish my associate's degree, I'm not sure where I want to go, but UNC Chapel Hill is my most likely school I want to go to, and I want to major in pre-medical or biology.
Awesome. Excellent. And I will mention that Breland was a secretary last year, so she does have some experience with NSBE Junior, and she was one of the chartering officers. All right, I don't know if Jada is on. Jada had to work tonight, and I said by all means, don't miss out on making money because she's going to be going to college next year, so she might not be on the call. And if she does join later, we will be able to introduce her at that time. Next, I am going to introduce Ryan Hebert. I see Ryan there. Hi, Ryan. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Wow, your voice has changed since I talked to you last. So can you tell us what school you attend and what grade you're in? And if you already know, what you're thinking about doing when you grow up?
I'm a seventh grader at East Garner Middle School, but I don't really know what I'm gonna do when I get older.
Okay, still figuring it out. That's fine. And Ryan was our treasurer last year. He's going to be our treasurer again this year. I'm going to have our officers work more closely with the RTP professionals. And perhaps we'll do some kind of a fundraiser, and we'll let Ryan lead us on figuring out what that's going to be. Is LeVar Brandon on? I see him in the chat.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hi, we call him LJ. LJ, how's it going?
It's fine. I'm doing good.
Okay. So LJ, can you tell everybody what school you attend, what grade you're in, and if you know what you're interested in doing when you grow up, can you mention that as well?
My school is East Garner Middle School. I'm in 7th grade, and what I want to be when I grow up, kind of want to be a gamer. Not gonna lie.
Okay. Awesome. Well, wonderful. Well, you still have some time to figure it out and to work on it. And LJ is our senator again, so he represents the general body. And in order for us to charter a NSBE Jr chapter, we had to have president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, and a senator to represent the body. And that's all you need to start a NSBE Jr chapter. Now, what I will talk about when we break out is starting the chapter is not hard. It's just filling out paperwork. But keeping a chapter is what we want you to think about and focus on. There have been at least 12 chapters in the Raleigh-Durham Chapel Hill area over the years. And right now, the only chapters that are still existing is the one at the North Carolina School for Science and Math, as well as the one we just launched. We didn't really plan on launching one, but because we couldn't find one that we could connect with in Raleigh, we decided to launch a community chapter so that individuals who are interested in starting chapters could be a part of this chapter, kind of learn the ropes, and then perhaps plant a chapter later or have an extension of our charter at their school. So thank you guys for joining. You're welcome to stay on. We are going to have a special treat for you in a little bit, and we're going to do a breakout and have a fun app that we're going to demonstrate that's going to include music and math. And I see Takia is on. Takia, you were a part of this at the National Virtual Conference last week. So you might want to come over there again and show everybody the music that you learned how to play on the piano. All right, thank you guys. All right, next slide, Elliot. All right, next one. So all of the officers, you can leave your cameras off if you like, but I do want you to come off of mute. We are going to do your induction, and I'm not going to make you each do this by yourself. I will read it. You've each told me your names. You've mentioned your name already. And when we are done, if you agree, just say, I agree, in your name. Now, I will say I am going to make a slight modification because this is an actual pledge. And a pledge is something that you take very seriously. It's a promise. And because you are under 18, I'm going to reword this in a way so that you will, you know, have the help of our chapter and advisors to fulfill, you know, this commitment. We'll call it a commitment. And if we were in person, I would have the RTP chapter members stand behind you and be there physically close to you. But since we can't do that, I will ask a couple of the RTP NSBE members to turn your cameras on now so the new officers can see your faces and your smiles and feel warm and welcome. And you can also share some love with them in the chat. So here is the induction. If you agree to this, just say at the end, I agree. I will commit to uphold the goals, mission, and objectives of the National Society of Black Engineers. I commit to perform my duties to the best of my abilities in the service of NSBE. I commit to work in a concerted effort with other executive board members to implement the national directives as NSBE moves toward achieving the goals and objectives of NSBE 2025. I commit to support the membership and their endeavors, and most importantly, to work to increase the number of culturally responsible Black engineers who excel academically, succeed professionally, and positively impact the community. So, Jairus, do you commit to this?
I agree.
All right, thank you. Breland, do you commit to this?
I agree.
Thank you. Ryan, do you commit to this?
I agree.
And thank you. LeVar, do you commit to this?
I agree.
Thank you. Can we all give them a hand, and I will clap, and I will give you some high fives too. So you are now officially the 2020-2021 NSBE Jr. officers. Thank you so much. And I see some people sharing some love for you right there in the chat. If you are on and you are an officer of the RTP chapter or another chapter, please share your position so they can get to know who the other officers are in the NSBE family. And Elliot, we'll go on to the next slide. So let's talk a little bit about how NSBE is organized. And actually, before I do that, let me just see. Do we have Andre Wright or Kaylin Coleman on? Are they here? They were the officers, two of the officers from last year who graduated. I don't know if they're on or not. Okay, they may be. So I just wanted to recognize them for their service. Andre Wright is at Wake Tech now, and he just started there last week. And Kaylin Coleman is at Meredith now. So they were NSBE Junior officers. They actually helped start the chapter, and we give them all the best as they start their first year in college. Now, neither one of them is at a school that is that has a NSBE chapter, and we'll talk about that a little later. We do want to give them the opportunity to continue to be a part of NSBE in their college years as well. So this is how the executive board is laid out. The president oversees the admin zone. The vice president oversees the membership zone. The secretary oversees the communication zone. The treasurer oversees the finance zone. And a programs chair oversees the program zone. Now, we don't have a programs chair in NSBE Junior, but we can have one. We can have additional officers, but to get it chartered, we only went with the minimum requirement. The membership chair reports to the vice president. The PR and the telecommunications chairs report to the secretary. The finance chair reports to the treasurer. And then the programs chair oversees the professional development chair, college initiative chair, pre-college initiative chair, and TORCH chair. And TORCH stands for Technical Outreach Community Help. And the next slide. So for RTP NSBE in the admin zone, these are the objectives for 2020-2021. We are going to focus on ensuring longevity of the chapter 2020 and beyond. We want to be remote and ready for 2020 and beyond. So in order to do so, we need to really focus this year on leadership development and succession planning. We're going to have about 5 board members who will not be eligible to be in the same position next year. So we're going to have a lot of, we're going to have some turnover in the board because that's in our bylaws. So we need to really focus on having individuals ready to continue to lead the RTP NSBE chapter. We're going to focus on safeguarding the chapter, meaning that protecting the chapter, making sure that we have all of our legalities together. We are compliant. We are a nonprofit. So there's a lot of things that we have to do because we are a nonprofit. and having a business continuity plan. So a lot of organizations were not ready for a pandemic. And as a result, they did not do well in continuing to operate. Fortunately for us, it was an easy switch to a virtual world. However, it is challenging for us to figure out how to execute some of the activities that we would normally do. If you go to our YouTube channel, just go to YouTube and type RTP NSBE, you'll see some video clips of all the activities that we did in the community last year. Well, unfortunately, we won't be in the community having STEM fairs, having tech nights, doing robotics competitions and things of that nature. So we'll have to be more creative on how we're going to continue the mission in those areas. We also want to establish an advisory board, and this is a separate board that will be people from the community with special skill sets like accounting, an attorney, just prior leadership experience that will be helpful for us as we continue to grow and develop the executive board. We also want to have an annual report of our chapter activities and our performance, as we want to position ourselves to get grants and to have more revenue. That will be helpful for us to show the public what we've been doing and allow people to see the benefit of investing in us. And just a happy note, before I joined the meeting tonight, I got some great news. We did receive approval to be eligible for Cisco grants. So now we are eligible in Bright funds for Cisco, and that gives us more opportunities to receive funding from them. And as a result of us providing a lot of information about the chapter and what we've done this year, we were approved. We also want to overall improve process efficiency and execution, not just in the admin zone, but in every zone of the executive board. And the next slide is the communication zone. Is Jamie on? Jamie, are you on?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, so Jamie, I'll let you talk to this one, and if John wants to add anything or anyone else in this zone, I'll let you manage that.
All right, good evening, everyone. Hope you all doing well. Basically, the common zone is basically all things communication, marketing. Basically, our goal this year is just to further enhance how we can communicate with the chapter in the community as well. We definitely we have a strong foundation, I feel like, so we just want to continue to build upon what we did last year, which involves our emails in our newsletter, our social media outreach with Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, our website, and just kind of work on some procedures of how we want to communicate with the chapter. So again, our goal this year is to expand our outreach with our different methods. We also have the GroupMe as well, so we use that to kind of get events out pretty fast. If you have an interest in wanting to just help us out with your skills in marketing or learn how to market more, again, we need help with website development, social media outreach development, flyers, press releases, those kind of items. So if you have an interest in writing or creating designs and marketing, definitely just let me know. And we look forward to having you join the comm zone.
Thank you, Jamie. And is John on? John, is there anything you want to add as a telecom chair?
Nope. I think Jamie covered the spectrum that I was going to touch on. So yeah, good job, Jamie. I think that covers it.
Teamwork. You're welcome.
Excellent, excellent. And is Joy or Janelle on?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, Joy, anything you want to add as our PR chair?
Just make sure to like and share whenever you see a RTP NSBE event, so that way we can get our message out to more and more people.
Excellent. And if you don't mind, Joy, can you put all of our social media handles in the chat so people would know what those are and they can follow us, and also put our website there as well.
Hey,
and
Tony, this is Jamie. Sorry.
Sure, go ahead.
I just have one more thing. If you just as members have any like I said, suggestions as to kind of what you want to see as far as communication and marketing, or what methods reach you the best, definitely let me know so that way we can kind of figure out what our members, look at the most or use the most as far as platforms go, just to help us reach as many people as we can. So if you have any suggestions or ideas as far as the best platforms that you all use, definitely let us know about that too.
Thank you, Jamie. Jamie, if you don't mind, can you put your email address in the chat? So if you are, as we're going through this tonight, if you're interested in joining NSBE, we do need volunteers. We need members and we need volunteers. So you don't have to be a member to volunteer. If you're interested in supporting the communication zone, reach out to Jamie and he'll put his email address. He's our secretary. He'll put that in the chat. If you have these skill sets or you want to develop these skill sets, please let us know. And also, this is a great way to build your resume. I talked to someone actually just yesterday who is majoring in digital marketing. And I said, are you a part of your public relations committee in your NSBE chapter? And he said, no. I said, well, that's a great opportunity for you to gain skill sets to build your resume. So this is a great way to gain skill sets, even if it's work you're doing, not for pay, but for volunteerism. And our next zone is the finance zone. Renee, are you on? I don't know if Renee is on. So Doug, if you or Elliot, just
you're on mute, Renee.
She's on mute. Okay.
You're talking.
So Renee is our treasurer, and I'll see if Renee wants to talk through these objectives for 2020, 2021.
I'm sorry, Tony, did you say something to me?
Yes. Did you want to talk about the finance zone and what we're working on for 2020, 2021?
Oh, okay. First of all, welcome everybody. We're so glad we have such a good attendance. One thing we would like people to do is to make sure that you pay your dues. Please pay both your national dues of only $50 and your local dues of only $20. Please encourage your friends to join us. We, as the reign-in chapter of the year of the whole NSBE, isn't it nice? Can we say that again? We're chapter of the year. And we did bust our butts to get that title. We're hoping that we could continue to grow. And as finance zone, we're also coming up with solicitation package. So we're going to be working on that, and you'll say, well, why? We need the money. We need the money for scholarships. We need the money for programs. We need more robots. We only have 8 robots. Do y'all know how much fun it is to go and put on a robotic display? North Carolina Central has agreed that one of the things that we can do down there free of charge is to have an engineering expo. Marquis says, oh, sure, yeah, Renee, you could train me how to do that. I'll head it up. And you know, I said yes, because y'all know how I am when it comes to doing something for them babies. So we can have that. What we have really got to do in order for us to have 10,000 Black engineers per year, starting by the year 2025, we have got to make ourselves interesting. If you have a career that you don't like, then do you really think somebody else is going to want it? No. So part of our job is to help our students. You'll find students, and you will find that NSBE, even though it says Black engineers, we have white engineers in there with us too, because they enjoy us. They enjoy what we bring. We produce. We want people getting help. And one of the things that NSBE does is we offer a lot of scholarships. Our students pay $15 a year in college. And you can sit there and look and apply for scholarships, $2,000, $5,000, $10,000. If they don't join us, they won't know it's there.
Right.
So we need us and our friends to promote us. We need us to help our students. They can look at us and say, oh, they don't care if I'm purple or gray or green. they're going to help me grow. They're going to help me choose a career that's exciting. And let me tell you, it is worthwhile, because the things that we can do for our kids, the things that we're willing to do for our kids, the things we must do for our kids. Because Tony's right there behind me. My Sarah thought about it, and I didn't let her think long before she said, yes, I'll be president. And she went right ahead, and she has been an excellent leader, as well as Doug and everybody else working with us, because that's our job. I have an engineer. Jerry and I happen to have an electrical engineering grad from A&T. So yes, he's right now investing in the overseas market. He's doing cryptocurrency. He has 6 buildings that his cleaning service cleans. This dude is determined he's not going to work for anybody else. Our goal is to offer our kids the opportunity for them to be their own boss, for them to be the head of something, for them to grow. And that is what our goal is. We're going to help our babies grow. Just let us know, and we'll sit there and start working with them. Right, y'all?
That's right.
That's right.
Thank you, Renee.
I love all them babies. I might not know all of them by name, but I love them babies, and we're going to help them. I get carried away. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. I appreciate the passion. So finance zone, we need members who can help with fundraising activities, share your expertise in bookkeeping, listen to podcasts, bring back ideas for us as a nonprofit, and help us position ourselves for grants. All right, next slide. Program zone. So this is a very busy zone, and I know Ray is on the phone. Ray, who DJ'd for us so nicely earlier today. So Ray, do you want to talk about the program zone? Just a little bit about what happens and what we need.
Hey everybody. The program zone consists of the professional development, which we have special interest groups such as healthcare and entrepreneurship. We need members in those fields to be active in those special interest groups so we can have more knowledge and put on more events in those fields. We also have the collegiate chapters. I think we're at 8 schools in the area, but one of our goals is to be at all the schools, including the technical colleges. We have our pre-college initiative, which is K through 12. Like Tony said earlier, we have a community-based chapter, and we also have a chapter at the School of Science and Math in Durham. But one of our goals is to have more NSBE Jr chapters in more schools in the area. Ideally, all the schools, but this year we want to get more chapters in more schools. And then we also have TORCH, which stands for Technical Outreach Community Help. We do community service work in the area. We put on technical workshops. We did a workshop at Washington Terrace for the residents there. So one of our goals there is to have more workshops like that in more places in the area. So we need volunteers for all of those programs, all of those committees. We need more members in the committees for each one of these so that we can have more programs. It takes a lot of people to put on these things, and we need a lot of involvement.
All right. Thank you, Ray. And again, if you are here and you're here because you're interested in launching a collegiate chapter, or you're interested in launching the NSBE Jr chapter, all of this applies. We are specifically here for Research Triangle professionals. However, if you were to launch a chapter, you would be assisting us, participating in these activities, and as a NSBE member, having this understanding of how the organization is structured will still be beneficial for you as well. All right, next slide, Elliot. All right, so at this time, if you are here with interest in hearing more about NSBE Jr., starting the chapter, or if you are in NSBE Jr., we're going to go to a breakout room, and I'm going to ask Doug at this time how he wants to handle this to get us over to that breakout room. We have a special guest, and let me make sure I see him on. I believe I saw him earlier. Are you there? Marcus, are you there?
I'm here.
Awesome. Marcus, do you want to introduce yourself real quick? You can take your camera off, turn your camera on if you like.
Sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Marcus Blackwell. I'm the CEO and founder of a company called Make Music Count. We are a math curriculum and app that's taught by learning how to play hip-hop songs on the piano. So in my breakout session, we'll be looking into learning some songs on the piano today by applying your understanding of everything from fractions to some times tables, a little bit of algebra since we've got some older kids here. It's a ton of fun, and I promise you, you will leave learning how to play at least 3 songs today on the piano. So looking forward to it. And also, I'm not sure how long the sessions are, but I'm definitely happy to chat about my entrepreneur journey. I've been an entrepreneur for 8 years now, and happy to answer some questions about that as well.
Thank you, Marcus.
Okay, it is, I'm Elliot Locke, the RTP membership chair, and so it's my pleasure to introduce today our speaker for tonight. And so tonight we will have Eric Bryant. Eric is the National Professionals membership chair for NSBE. And when we say nationals, our national, there's the National Executive Board, Regional Executive Board, and then local chapter executive board. So Eric Bryant, as I mentioned, currently serves as the 2020-2021 National Professionals Membership Chairperson for the National Society of Black Engineers. He has a deep and extended history of serving NSBE in leadership on national, regional, and chapter levels. From 2009 to 2011, he served as the treasurer on the Region 2 Alumni Executive Board before being elevated to the same role on the National Alumni Executive Board from 2011 through 2013. Most recently, Mr. Bryant served for 3 years as the president of the NSBE Greater Philadelphia Professionals Chapter. Eric holds a Bachelor and a Master of Science in Chemical Engineering from the University of Dayton. While at Dayton, Mr. Bryant was also a very active NSBE member in leadership, serving single terms as the chapter's secretary, vice president, president, and finally, as the chapter's parliamentarian/historian. Professionally, Eric is a global process steward for the Dow Chemical Company at its Northeast Dow Center in Collegeville, Pennsylvania, just outside of Philadelphia. In this role, he has global manufacturing support responsibilities for nearly 200 different aqueous acrylic polymer products in the company's coating materials, construction chemicals, oil, gas, and mining, and home, institutional, and personal care solutions businesses. He has been employed at Dow for 19 years and has a certified Six Sigma black belt. In his spare time, Mr. Bryant enjoys baking, playing the trumpet, and listening to jazz and classical music, which I share those interests as well. So would everybody please help me virtually in welcoming Eric Bryant.
Good evening, Research Triangle Professionals Chapter. Thank you for the opportunity to address you this evening, and thank you to Elliot for both the invitation and the the reading of my bio. I was not expecting to hear all of it, but appreciate getting the opportunity to share with you guys. Primarily on the topic of maximizing your membership value. That's the primary topic that the chapter leadership asked me to come and address you guys on. And I think it's an important topic to start the year off on, because when you think about what we are doing as an organization, it's not merely about joining the chapter and then saying that you're a member of the chapter, right? It's important to understand what benefits you get from being a member, and I'm going to talk about that in some aspect with respect to that. The other thing I'm going to do, intersperse with this, is just talk about leadership in general, because that's something that, especially in the context of what Tony mentioned earlier about wanting our members to develop into, the leadership pipeline of the chapter, need to understand, what comes with that. And so we'll talk some about that as well. So you guys have already heard my CV, but I share it with you again here so that you guys can see. The other thing I'll just point out is that I have been recognized a number of times by the society, and I'm grateful that that my peers believe that I am worthy of the recognition I've received within NSBE. So both at the national level, the chapter level, and the regional level, I've been blessed with the opportunity to receive accolades and recognition from members representing them. And I would say that the key thing within NSBE that I am appreciative of is having the opportunity to be a lifetime member. I'm lifetime member 318. For those who are curious about 318, it's specifically the number I wanted, and I timed my membership accordingly. And it's because that most of my entire family is from Northwest Louisiana, and that's the area code for Northwest Louisiana. And specifically thinking about them at this time with with Hurricane Laura and the like. And probably after this call, I'll be making some phone calls just to kind of see things are coming back to normal. But definitely pray for my family as we're, with the hurricane and the like. Next slide. All right. So I mentioned I wanted to talk a little bit about leadership. I want you guys to understand my responsibility on the National Professional Executive Board and what the membership chair does, so that you have a sense of what that responsibility is and what I do on the national level. My primary responsibility is to lead the Professionals Charter Membership Committee. And basically that committee, which comprises myself and each of the 6 regional professionals chairpersons elect, is to address membership issues, address issues with chapter charters, and address issues that chapters have for which they need support. So we're working tirelessly, and I just also want to recognize a member of your chapter, Renee Johnson. Not only is she your chapter treasurer, she also is currently the Region 2 Professionals Chairperson-elect for this 2020-2021 term. And so she's a member of my team in this endeavor to help us support all the chapters nationally within NSBE. And really that's the focus for the membership chairs, to really hone in on assisting chapters to get them what they need from a national standpoint, address concerns and issues, take on challenges as it relates to membership issues as well that the chapters engage. So that you understand, the chapters are our vehicle for executing NSBE's program. And so the caretaking of our chapters is an essential part of making NSBE successful. And, Research Triangle has been an exemplar as it relates to doing the things that are necessary on the professionals level to succeed at executing programming, as you probably already heard from the descriptions throughout this evening's earlier comment. And so our efforts are definitely to support the chapters in that way, right? So as a part of it as well, we're monitoring the charter process. Whenever a new chapter wants to come in line, we help to assist that chapter to get it through to completing the charter process and getting off on a good foot. support chapter development. So all the initiatives that are happening for RTP in the 2020-2021 term, we want to provide support and tools to help advance in development and growth and sustainability of the chapter. We handle the membership recruitment and retention strategies on a national level. And then we also, like I mentioned, address membership issues, provide resources like a recruiting handbook, membership handbook. And then we're also responsible for the member dues structure. And whenever there are changes, we're involved in making recommendations for those. Next slide. So I was not anticipating that Tony would share this with you, but I'm often interested in making sure that people are familiar with what we consider NSBE Professionals' value proposition. And what you'll notice about the statement, what I'll say about this statement is it's about inspiration and service. And so I'm reminded of John Kennedy's quote of, "Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country." I think the same sentiment applies for NSBE. When it comes to inspiring the next generation, that's not something that is intrinsically in service of yourself. It is you giving service to others. And the same in terms of transforming the culture of NSBE. We serve as representatives of our culture to the entirety of society and to the profession of engineering. And so with that comes responsibility. And if you're committed to that, you get benefit from that by being recognized, by having the opportunity to grow and develop as a person and as an engineer. And that's ultimately why we exist as the NSBE Professionals, to serve in that capacity. And in the process, we gain substantial benefits from that. Next slide. So this is where I'm going to talk about leadership, and actually this is more broadly leadership, although this section of training I typically give to chapter leaders when I'm giving. Next slide. I'll first talk about what it means to be a fiduciary. And I think a lot of times when people ask the question or understand when we talk about the term fiduciary, it's thought about in the context of finances, right? Taking care of the assets or the resources of an organization. The reality is fiduciary responsibility is much broader than that. It's really an overall caretaker role. So certainly it's a fiduciary, someone who's entrusted with the control of the organization's assets. From a financial perspective, that's the case, but that's also true with all the other assets of the organization. Information, so the what I'll call the brand of the organization, or the documents of the organization, or the programming of the organization. Fiduciary cares about all of those things because all of those things contribute to fulfilling the organization's purpose, right? And so what I'd like everybody to do really quickly is answer the question I had though there. Who are NSBE's fiduciaries? And you can type those into the chat box. Just curious to see what you guys think in terms of who the fiduciaries of NSBE are. Or if you want to unmute yourself and speak up, I'll also take that as well. I'm very interested in what you guys think in that regard. Officers and members, good. An individual member, yes. In as much as that person handles those things, yes. Officers, members, world headquarters, yes. So yes, anybody that has a caretaker responsibility for NSBE as an organization and takes that seriously is recognized as a fiduciary. So all good answers. Next slide. So let's talk about what the duties, okay, we're gonna back up here. The duties of a fiduciary are. We talk about the fiduciary responsibilities. There are three that are commonly defined by law, and they pretty much apply to all cases, right? So fiduciary duties involve a duty of obedience, a duty of loyalty, and a duty of due care. So let's talk about each of those individually. Next slide. So the duty of obedience is not necessarily a duty to obey an individual. It's truly to obey or state allegiance from a behavior standpoint to what the organization is expecting, as well as what governments apply to your given organization. So what that means is that in the process of being a fiduciary, you should obey all applicable laws, and you make sure that the organization work fully adheres to its mission statement. And so the mission statement is not just a statement that we stand up and say at our events. It becomes a living thing by virtue of making sure that everything we do in the organization's work is in alignment with that statement, right? And I give the examples there of what the laws are that matter around NSBE. We've got to care about state charitable solicitation laws, other laws that are in place with respect to nonprofit organizations or corporations in general in the state. And then there are the federal IRS rules and regulations about nonprofit organizations. Next. There's the duty of loyalty. And what that means is not, again, loyalty to any one individual within the society. Your duty of loyalty as a fiduciary, as an officer, as a member, as an employee is to put the interests of the organization first, right? And so if you're serving in that capacity, you've got to be mindful of what your conflicts are in terms of interest. Obviously, all of us have numerous interests. We have personal interests, we have interests in other organizations, we have interests in NSBE. And so you need to examine whenever you're operating in the context of NSBE, what potential conflicts of interest you have. And when you're making decisions in NSBE's interest, you want to take yourself in the context of, is there an appearance that my decision might be colored in other people's mind around my own personal interest or some other interest that I'm engaged in? If your conscience is clear in that regard, it is fully appropriate for you to engage and make decisions. When you know you have a conflict, you want to make sure you're not in a situation where you're not looking like you're biased towards another interest that's separate and apart from NSBE's interest. So let's talk about a specific example. And again, you can answer this in the chat or you can speak up by coming off of mute. Do you think a chapter and the national organization can have a conflict of interest? In other words, can the chapter's interest conflict from that of the national organization? And if you think the answer is yes, I'd love to hear someone state an example. No one has an opinion, no one wants to speak up. Then I have to start picking on folks.
Eric, this is Takia. My answer is yes, I believe that they can, but I'm trying to think of an example, either that I have experienced or heard of, or just an example in general. So,
yeah.
I
Anyone have a different point of view or share that point of view? Again, the chat box is a great place to answer this with your thoughts. I'll go ahead and move on just for the sake of time. The answer is not, don't change the slide. I'm just going to answer the question. The answer in my view is definitely yes. And I'll just give you the example that comes most frequently in my mind, especially in the position that I'm in terms of member dues. There's often a very common conflict that exists at chapters around how do we serve NSBE's mission on a local level, right? And so we have the conversation of membership in the context of I'm a local member, not necessarily a national member. And I was very pleased to hear Renee talk about the importance of paying both local dues and national dues. That is very important. That's a statement that takes the position of saying, I'm supportive of the organization as a whole and my chapter. However, there are situations where we've had chapter leaders take the position of, I don't care so much about the national dues. In as much as I can get those who are locally here to pay their local dues, then my needs are met. And really that is a true conflict of interest that is not in service of what the organization needs and deserves. And so when we have, and really what that means is that it puts your chapter's charter in threat. If we find that there is an overt take in terms of chapters putting the chapter interest ahead of that of the overall organization and its overall mission. So the answer is yes, and that's one example that I would give around that. All right, next slide. The final duty is due care. And basically that means that if you make the commitment to be a member, to be an officer, that you'll take on the responsibility of what comes with that dutifully. Basically, whatever is expected of you, you will make the commitment to make those things that you would have to do in that role happen. And so what the standard for that is would a member of the general public see your actions in your given role as reasonable? And that means in as much as how you arrive at what your decision is, not necessarily what the outcome is. Sometimes there are unintended consequences by the decisions you make. And in a lot of cases, the decisions you make are colored by information that you don't have access to or would otherwise be colored by information you wouldn't have access to. So the way that it's looked at is with the information that's in front of you, is the decision that you made reasonable regardless of what the outcome is. If you're doing that properly, then the due care standard is met. Next slide. So I give here kind of the chapter officer's roles, and this is kind of like every chapter. And I'm sure that that this applies not only to the NSBE Jr chapter, but it also applies to the professionals chapter, and it applies to all of our chapters at all levels. I won't speak to it directly, but what I would advise those of you who are not currently in officer roles is to think about what kinds of these things would really interest you in terms of service to the society and the organization. They are really important management responsibilities for the sustainability of our chapters. And we really need as many people who have an interest to learn what it takes to be in these positions so that the sustainability of our chapters, broadly speaking, is good. So that's everything on chapter leadership. I'll now transition to talking about value proposition of membership. And for me, defining membership value is done on the basis of 3 questions that I'll talk about here. The first one is when it comes to something being valuable, you ask the question, is it something that's important to you, right? So even that, I can break it into kind of 3 slices. First of all, you define the importance in terms of value when membership actually solves a problem that you have, right? So you need access to a network because you currently don't have a network. You moved into a new area. By me being able to join the local NSBE chapter, I now have an instant network of engineers that are in my location that I can make contact with and work with to kind of build my network in the area and get involved. That would be an example of something that would be important to someone who would be a member, and it solves that specific problem about growing an instant network in your community to be able to engage and be involved. The second of those breakouts is something desirable? Can I obtain that by being included as a member? And so the examples there are, hey, I want to go to the NSBE convention this year, so I'm going to sign up for membership so that I can register for that NSBE convention at the member rate as opposed to registering at the non-member rate. And I'll get the NSBE member experience at that reduced cost. And so that's something that's desirable for me, value proposition for me, I'm going to benefit from that, and therefore that's important value. The third breakdown for that, is it important, would be if there's something negative that can be avoided by being a member of NSBE, right? And so I would just kind of give the example here of, I know that I need, as a part of my personal development, an opportunity to give back to the community, and I need a vehicle to do so that I find on my own. And that may be an expectation as part of my role at work. And if I don't have that as a part of my work criteria or otherwise, then it reflects negatively on my performance review. So getting involved in NSBE and being an active part of NSBE might be a way for me being able to have something in my performance portfolio that will allow me to avoid a negative performance review. Just a stretch example maybe, but it's kind of giving you a sense of how these all break down for you, right? So all of these things being important to you, that's the way to look at it. And that's all an important part of value proposition for membership. The second major question is it unique? In other words, is joining NSBE something that is different than in an important way to you from any other opportunity to get what you need from a value proposition? So as it relates to NSBE, what is it that NSBE offers from a value perspective that cannot be found in any other organization? Right? And so then the third question is really, is it necessary? Is this something that has to be? And that aligns to, is it something that aligns to the needs of the member or would-be member, as well as an alignment to the importance of NSBE's mission, broadly speaking, to society? So important, unique, necessary, all define what value proposition is in the context of membership. Next slide. I'm just gonna check my time here. Got about 10 minutes. I want to share with you the feedback we got from our National Professionals Membership Opinion Survey last year. I think these really highlight kind of the things that hit on the importance as well as the necessity and the third point, which is why I don't understand why I'm forgetting this this word, but I think it hits all three of the points. Uniqueness of NSBE as an organization, right? So when you think about that very first reason I'm a part of the NSBE Professionals, 95% of our respondents said that this was important to them, that they wanted to be a part of a community of professionals that look like themselves. Think about, from an engineering profession perspective, NSBE, is there any other organization like that offers that kind of opportunity? The reality is there are other organizations that do, but not with the same name brand, not with the same kind of engagement. And in many cases, those organizations may have a much more narrower focus in terms of what their obligation and mission is. Increasing awareness of the value of STEM professions to the Black community. I think that NSBE is uniquely the vanguard as it relates to doing that. And it's central to what NSBE's mission is, positively impacting the community, improving and increasing academic excellence. And I think that's a major part of what we do. And building our professional network. I mentioned before, one of the major problems for Black professionals, particularly at many of their jobs where you may be one of one or one of two African-American engineers at your job, is being able to connect to other Black engineering professionals. And NSBE certainly offers that opportunity to do that, not just at your location geographically, but as a national network, we are very tied and deeply connected. And we have connections throughout the country, and that's not possible without the infrastructure of what NSBE overall has. Not with just our given chapter, but all of our 70 some odd chapters throughout the society. Next slide. So when you're looking at those three elements, think about it in terms of what actual tangible benefits you get. And those are things like your discounts, the events that NSBE holds, our trainings and webinar sessions that are offered to our members, the extended NSBE network I was just talking about, opportunities for recognition and awards at a national level, at a regional level, and at a local level, which can often help you with career advancement opportunity, as well as volunteerism and leadership opportunities within NSBE as well. Those are all very tangible things that NSBE offers to our members. And if you take advantage of NSBE membership, these are all things you can reach into to try to advance some of the things that you feel are necessary to include in your life. As it relates to intangibles, these are the things that don't necessarily, you can't call an item, but they're exceptionally meaningful things as it relates to membership. Think about the emotions of being a part of society and the things that, and the feelings that you get when you attend events. I will say that from a personal standpoint, the thing that has kept me a NSBE member more than anything else is the very first NSBE convention I attended back in 1997 in Anaheim. It was walking into the General Convention Hall for the first time and seeing so many Black engineers in one room for the very first time like that, and seeing such a large stage with the NSBE logo emblazoned up there, and seeing Black person after Black person coming up and giving presentations and speeches. It was an experience I will never forget, and it's an experience that keeps me tied to this organization. So emotions, memories. From my work within NSBE, I have the opportunity to build strong relationships with people and connections that I can then leverage to get things done. It's an opportunity for me to engage the community and long-term friends and family as well. Really about NSBE love. And you've heard the term NSBE love in the past. Really, those connections that build over time result in lifelong friendships. And really, at the end of the day, NSBE's family atmosphere is an essential cultural component of what we do as an organization. So I think I'm wrapping up here. Next slide. So to summarize, why am I a NSBE mission? I think that the NSBE mission aligns very much with my personal mission. My personal mission is about learning and continual growth. And so that academic, excelling academically and succeeding professionally is a very important thing around my personal desires, as well as having that service mindset and servant leadership mindset, and service as a whole, and positively impacting my community is essential to my personal being. NSBE has a very large and technically diverse network that I very much am able to tap into and gain benefits from that. I want to have an impact and a legacy, and so impacting and influencing the future is very important to me. And as I said before, in terms of my personal mission, having personal professional growth, my involvement in NSBE has always provided me that opportunity to do that. And I think that if you search within your being to figure out whether NSBE aligns with what you're trying to accomplish personally and professionally, I think you can find a great degree of overlap, and that's why NSBE membership is important. So, final slide. How do you get value out of membership? First of all, you got to be a member in order to do that. So you want to join or renew your membership. You want to engage your network. You want to inspire the next generation, develop your skills, volunteer to help others, and acknowledge and lift up each other. Recognition is a very important part of value. When people feel anonymous, then they lose the connection. So with all of that shared, I thank all of you for your attention and time. I think we do have a couple minutes for if you've got questions. Would love to address any of those questions you have. Next slide has my contact information. If we do run out of time, you're more than welcome to email me. with any of your questions, and I try to be very responsible in doing so. So that said, thank you for your time. And like I said, if we've got a couple minutes, I'll address any questions anyone has.
Eric, question. Are we
Yes.
allowed as NSBE members to help with SEEK, or they have their own staff that they use for SEEK?
So we have actually a department within our programs department specifically geared towards the SEEK program. For those who are unfamiliar with SEEK, SEEK is an acronym for the Summer Engineering Experience for Kids. And so basically what NSBE has is that program is a 3-week summer day camp where we have 3rd through 5th graders have an opportunity to engage in engineering projects, 1 per week for 3 weeks. The way that typically is staffed is that we hire mentors to actually run the program. And then there's leadership coming from the national organization for the proper implementation and funding of that program. Typically what members can get involved in as it relates to the SEEK program is assisting in providing judges for the projects that typically occur as exposition on Fridays. And typically there's a solicitation that goes out for volunteers to do that. And typically what that also involves is serving in terms of role models and representing what a professional, an engineer actually does in society. And so, you know, when we used to have those live, you would have direct engagement with the students, allow them to answer, you would answer their questions about what it's like to be an engineer. This past year, we did hold the SEEK program on a virtual basis. We had the opportunity for people to judge the projects remotely. And so there were submissions that were sent to a central location. We had a number of volunteers come in and judge those projects and provide the feedback to the students that actually participated on a virtual basis in the program. So I would say that the way that as professional members we can engage is by knowing where all of those events are going to be and figuring out the best ways that we can engage in supporting the judging of the projects on the Fridays, and serving as role models in that regard. And I believe the NSBE website also captures all of the SEEK locations for any given year. So, of course, this year with COVID, none of them were done on site. They were all virtual. And there, I anticipate there'll be a virtual version next year as well. Even though if we're able to do them on site, we'll do those as well. But anticipate more details coming out on, you know, how you can engage in serving as the judge for those events, because that's how we can engage at the chapter level. Any other questions?
Eric, this is Elliot.
Yes.
I was just wondering, can you also kind of speak on why being a professional kind of matters in terms of getting the collegiate students and like transitioning that pipeline?
Yeah, so yeah, I can speak to that, right? So I mentioned earlier about SEEK and role models. The role model responsibility as it relates to being a role model for your NSBE Junior students is certainly important, but we have an obligation as well to engage our collegiate chapters as well. For those of you who are not fully aware, NSBE is a primarily student-managed organization. The primary national executive board for NSBE is comprised of student leaders. And student leaders, I mean by collegiate student leaders. And most of our chapters are also collegiate chapters. And so we have NSBE chapters at many of the universities throughout the country. And the goal really there is to help and aid with the retention of Black students in engineering programs. As Renee actually mentioned earlier, that one of our key goals as an organization long range is to have 10,000 African American engineers graduating with engineering degrees annually starting in 2025. And where we are right now is we're a little bit over 5,000 annually as of the 2018 numbers. And so really we got a lot of work to do as an organization, and where we play a role on a professionals level in terms of getting that number from a little over 5,000 to 10,000 in 5 years' time is going to be based off of not only making sure that we engage in NSBE Jr. Preparation for college, right? And that's helping with standardized tests. That's helping students get energized around what an engineering career looks like, and having solid math and science fundamentals so that they're ready for those classes in college, but helping them sustain and matriculate once they actually are in college. And the work that we do within NSBE and the work that professional members are doing in that space is not just academic either. We understand that many of the challenges that our students have are surrounding just the college life aspect, not just the academics. And so you may be perfectly academically prepared, but campus life and learning how to deal in that aspect, sustaining proper study habits in the college environment, because you're now in a situation where you don't have that teacher that's checking on you every day to make sure you're progressing on your classes. You very much have to manage that yourself. And having an approach for having students, engage in that process of being able to be an effective student and managing their time is essential, and we contribute to support that. But then ultimately, again, that role model piece and helping students on the collegiate level understand what opportunities exist for them once they actually do get their degrees, and what may interest them, and how do they learn more about getting internships that give them the experience of being in those positions, so they can learn more about what being an engineer involves, what they like, what they might envision their career to be going forward. That's something that we can engage in. And certainly many of us work at companies that are going to be looking for engineering talent. And so that presents an opportunity to engage students at our colleges in discussions about not only what you do, but what positions typically exist at your companies. And that broadens their perspective. Ideally, it energizes those students to continue to pursue those careers, because the ultimate goal is having them graduate with those degrees in engineering fields. So membership in the professionals is exceptionally important as it relates to supporting our student members in matriculating and staying and not giving up the fight, and excelling ultimately in terms of their academic success, to be able to matriculate to completing a degree, getting that next job, and then they can become professionals as well.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Great question. I appreciate it. Thanks, Elliot.
All right, thank you.
Any more questions?
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Doug.
Oh, no, I didn't know whether questions were finished or not. I was about to pause for a second, but let's see if there are any more questions.
Eric, I did not realize you had your Lean Six Sigma black belt too.
Yeah, it's actually just a straight up Six Sigma black belt. It's not lean. It's not a lean Six Sigma black belt. It's just Six Sigma.
Okay, mine
for
is
a
lean.
period of, yeah, for,
And Tony's is
I didn't
master
get
black belt.
Yeah, I did not. So lean was part of our instruction, but in as much as I was certified, it was only the Six Sigma component for which I received the certification. I was on Master Black Belt track until our company decided to no longer support Six Sigma. So I completed the Black Belt, did not get a chance to complete the Master Black Belt, although I did receive the Master Black Belt instruction. So I'm not certified, but I've been trained as a Master Black Belt as well.
Oh, okay.
And, I'm for a number of years in my role, I was doing exclusively, Six Sigma projects. So fairly experienced. And for those of you who have been consumers of what I do on the membership standpoint, very data oriented. I do a ton of data mining. I mentioned earlier that the member survey, right? That was a survey that I created and conducted for the purposes of understanding what members are interested in and what really drives what membership is all about. Not necessarily trying to ask questions about, what do you want? So much as I have a sense of what you want, help me validate that. And that's really where those things that I mentioned earlier come from, right? When 95% of members say, yeah, that's what I'm here for, that's probably what members are here for, as opposed to, just asking, what are you here for? You may not necessarily get the answer. So I very much bring that. It's interesting, when I received my Master Black Belt training, they said, when you become a Black Belt or a Master Black Belt, you're that's your life. Like, you can't be anything but that, and you bring it to everywhere that you go. And so, the skills of what I do as a Black Belt, hopefully they appear in everything I'm doing in NSBE too, not just as a part of my work. I don't walk away from that. Once I, shut down my workstation at Dow at the end of the day.
It's valuable training that does expand across everything, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And we should mention that we should also encourage our kids, because I know A&T has at least a green belt that you can get while you're in college. Now, they may even go higher, but I know about the green belt.
Yeah, my experience has been that at a lot of programs, that if you're like in an industrial engineering program, that they'll often include a Six Sigma Green Belt certification with the degree, because that's just part of the curriculum at schools. So yeah, you'll see that a lot at universities, and that's something I definitely would encourage, just because I think we talk a little bit about the scientific method and the engineering method. Both Six Sigma and Design for Six Sigma are methodologies that very much align with the scientific method and the engineering method. And they're just a different way to think about solving complex problems.
Yep.
All right.
Make yourself more valuable without realizing.
Yeah.
Thanks. That is some very valuable information. I'm sure a lot of people learn some things about NSBE and about being a member. There are plenty of benefits to being a NSBE professional. And Elliot, if you go to the next slide. So we're gonna, since we're not doing this in person right now, we'll virtually present you with a certificate, and we just want to thank you for coming out and speaking to our members. And I'm going to pause for 1 second. I'm just going to check on things in the other room, as well as, let's see, I have to let a couple of people in, it looks like. I have to leave the room first. So if you give me a few seconds, I'll be right back.
All right. And thank you very much for the recognition, everyone. I appreciate the opportunity to address the members of RTP, and I look forward to another opportunity to engage you at some point. Hopefully very soon we'll be able to get back to attending conferences again, and hope to see each of you individually and engage you. And I encourage you that if you've got questions or just want some information, please reach out to me. I try to, again, be very responsive and both responsive and supportive. So if I don't have the answer, as long as I've been in NSBE, I'm pretty good at knowing who does. So feel free to use me as a resource in that regard, and be more than happy to support.
We appreciate it, Eric. We appreciate you making the time to be with us.
Yes, definitely appreciate it. And I wanted to share that I had a similar experience, Eric, at my first national convention, which I think was in like 2014 or 13. And I think that was, where was it? It's
It
slipping
would
my
either have been
mind.
Nashville or Indianapolis.
Yeah, I think it was Nashville.
And Elliot, will you go through some of the benefits?
Yes, I was gonna say for the sake of time, Eric had
Okay,
mentioned membership benefits in his
awesome.
presentation. And
Okay, it, awesome. If there are people who want to join, we can add the chat, add the link in the chat if they want to go ahead and walk through the application process tonight.
okay.
As we mentioned earlier, national dues are 50, local dues are 20, or you can just go to rtpnsbe.org and join through our local website as well, all of the steps in membership. And the next slide. Thank you, Eric. Eric added the net.nsbe.org for the national site. Lots of opportunities to get involved, as you've heard. I won't go through all of these. Our YouTube channel captures best some of the things that we did last year. Just go to YouTube and type RTP NSBE, and you'll be able to see our channel.
Oh, that's a good one, Tony. The last one. Your job donation matching. That is
Yes, so
really valuable because
when
some
you
places
join,
can match dollar for dollar, and for their retirees, it may only be 50%, but that's still good. Free
right.
money, y'all.
So
Free money.
So when you join, we would like to know where you work, because there could be a match, a volunteerism grant that the chapter can benefit from as well. All right, and next slide. All right, we just went through that one. And next slide. So Ray talked earlier about the professional development as part of programs. We do have special interest groups. We do need some ambassadors for some of those. The ones highlighted in bold are the ones that are currently active. I do know that we're going to need an ambassador for Black women in science and engineering. I think the other ones are okay, the ones that are in bold. There is some interest in information technology think tank and the aerospace. We do have people identified, but we haven't had activities in those yet. Carlin Kearney is the professional development chair, and she'll be getting together with the SIG ambassadors on some of the activities that we'll want to do for the rest of the term. She wasn't able to join us tonight. And next slide. Richard, are you on?
Hey, I'm here, Tony.
Hey, Rich, you want to talk a little bit about College Initiative?
Sure. So, yeah. Good evening. My name is Richard Gilliam. So I'm the CI co-chair. So our 2020-2021 objectives are that we're are looking to grow our career mentoring program. So we're looking to align our RTP professional chapter more with our collegiate chapters. So we're currently looking for new members and also volunteers. And we're also looking for volunteers possibly to assist with events like a Walk for Education that we have yearly. We can go to the next slide. And you can go to the next slide.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. So here are some of the collegiate chapters that we have in our region. So you see NC State, UNC Chapel Hill, North Carolina Central University, North Carolina A&T, St. Augustine University, which is my college that I graduated from, Duke University, and UNC Charlotte. So here is just little quotes that each collegiate chapter has that goes by their chapter. We can go to the next slide. So when looking to start in a collegiate chapter, you have to have at least 10 members. And with those 10 members, you have to have at least 5 members that will be running in your admin zone, which will be the president, vice president, treasurer, secretary, and programs chair. And you also have to complete a charter application. And when looking to start a chapter, it's important to know that you have to realize what it's going to take to keep the uptake of the chapter. So if you think at your university that you might not have 10 students that will be maybe in the future, you might can look into considering starting a community chapter with different college students possibly in the area of your university or something like that. And also it's important to know that like I said, at your school, students do not have to be in the NSBE collegiate chapter. They don't have to be at your university for a community chapter. So I think that's it.
Okay. So
And I'll
thank
leave
you,
my
Rich.
email. I'm sorry. I'll leave my email in the chat if anyone needs it to contact me.
Yeah, I was going to say add that there. And I do know we do have some people who join specifically to have that conversation about the collegiate chapters. And I would like to talk to Mike and whoever else came from Wait Tech offline about that. We need to kind of look at the pros and cons and the possibilities of both, and kind of talk to what that would take for the school to support budgeting and advising and the things that's necessary to sustain the chapter. I do want to divert real quickly because I know Marcus has to go. We just had the pre-collegiate initiative NSBE Jr program in a separate room, and Marcus came in and did a demo for us on an app called Make Music Count. Marcus, can you just kind of give us a quick, I'm going to say 5 minutes. I know you have to go into your home there, but just kind of tell us a little bit about that app. And we're thinking about doing this for NSBE Jr, and this will be a part of the pre-collegiate initiative if we do it.
Sure. Hi, everyone again. I'm Marcus Blackwell, CEO of Make Music Count. We're a math curriculum and app that's taught by learning how to play popular songs on the piano. And so our workshop today was really just showing our students that there are fun ways to apply your understanding of mathematics. And so we do everything from fractions all the way up to pre-calculus and calculus problems, where once you answer the questions, the answers are the notes to immediately play some songs on the piano. And you can do this even if you've never played the piano before. So I know that really begs for a demonstration. Should I just do one really quickly? Is that okay?
I think so. Yeah, let's let if it's okay for Marcus to share, we'd have to let Doug.
I don't know if I can while someone else is sharing.
Yeah, I think Doug has to give you the sharing rights for that.
Elliot, if you could stop sharing, then I think he will be
Okay.
able to share.
Oh, I think I got it.
All
I got
right.
it. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, so the way this works is I took everything that had a musical definition and gave it a math definition. So in music, if you were to move from C to C sharp, that's called a half step. And so what I did was I just turned that into an actual equation that looks like this. All right, there's a tutorial video. So again, it's rewriting everything that is musical as math. So here is C plus 1/2. So you would start on C and plus having to go to the very next key. And you would answer by pushing that note. And so what we're doing is we're looking at the piano as if it were a number line. So if you add, you count moving to the right. If you subtract, you count moving to the left. So F minus 1/2 would just be to the very next key, E. And so what we're doing is with this foundation, it allows us to move into learning how to play songs that are popular on the radio. And so the reason why kids like this so much is because we show them how to play their favorite songs, whether it's, you know, from the radio or TV shows or anything, commercials. So we will learn how to play Old Town Road on the piano. I'll walk you through it. Very, very simple. The answers to the questions are the notes to play the piano. So whether or not you need help in math or good in math, you will also learn how to play an instrument at the same time. So,
and Marcus, let me interject here. If you help with PCI, you have to volunteer and teach math. So you might need this to brush up on math for yourself. So go ahead.
So F sharp plus 1, here's F sharp plus 1 means you have to move to half. So you will go G, which is half, up to G sharp, which is another half. So your answer would be G sharp. So now I'm sharing from my laptop, but this is also an app that's available for free to download and try out. So I definitely encourage all of you guys to go and download it to check it out. Just make music count in the App Store. So what happens is when you finish your questions, your reward is you get to hear the song and the answers to the questions will light up so that you can play along.
Till I can't no more. I got the horses in the back, horse stock is attached. Head is matted black, got the bushes black to match. Riding on a horse, milking with your pork.
Okay, so you guys get the point.
Yeah.
This one part, you play along with the song, you learn the song. Then we end with a math quiz at the end. So Old Town Road focused on fractions and whole numbers, so that's obviously what your quiz is based on with no music. What you guys will like is that you can also select songs by math subject. And like I said, everything from fractions up to pre-calculus and calculus problems. One other interesting thing I offered to the students outside of just using this for engagement and supplemental practice is I provide internships where students can help me create some of the equations. So for example, if we looked at pre-calculus, this is also another great way just to show your understanding. You go into a section, you pick a song, doesn't matter which song, right? But I can ask the students to actually create these equations for me for their favorite songs and input them into the app. So this can be something that can be beneficial to them as well, something that they can speak to for future interviews or anything. But I thought that'd be a really great way just to show their understanding of not only the math subject, but how the piano works, and also helping us generally build our curriculum.
I think that's great, Marcus. I think even some of the high school, even some of the college students might be interested in interning because they take pre-calculus and calculus too. So that might be something that we could even get the college students involved in.
Absolutely. So I will put so this is something that we license to schools or enrichment organizations to use at $7 a student for the year, or you can just download it individually out of the App Store. to try it out. It works on any device, whether it's a phone, iPad, tablet, both iPhone and Android. So I will put my email in here in case you have any questions, as well as my website. And
we are thinking about, and I will be presenting a proposal for a budget for this for the NSBE Junior chapter. So just letting the admins
He
know.
say $7 per student per year.
Yes.
That's cheap.
It's tech prices. Yes, it has to be cheap.
Yeah, good price.
Yeah, we have to make sure that, because the thing is that this really works very well. Whether, and I was saying before, like whether you need help catching up in math, or if you're good at math, you know, you're not going to see engagement like this with mathematics, like you'll see within our app. And it's simply because we make things culturally relevant on purpose. You know, these are the songs our students are listening to anyway. And so we figured we might as well use that for math improvement and engagement.
Thank you, Marcus. And like I said, I do want to have you come back and talk about the entrepreneurship side of that as well at some point.
I'd love to.
Marcus, do you work only with local kids, or you could help people
from
other regions?
He's not local. He's in Atlanta.
So I'm in Atlanta, but this is something that's available in the App Store, so it's available global. We have schools here in Atlanta. We have schools in Saudi Arabia. So again, because the whole idea of culturally relevancy involves anyone that has music and math, right? So that's part of the reason why we made it into an app, is because we were seeing such great success that we had to make sure that it could be available to whoever needs it. So yeah, when you're in the App Store, anyone can come and find you.
Appreciate it, Marcus. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing that with the RTP professionals as well. And this might be something that we can use as a engagement tool for us as well, not just for NSBE Junior.
Nice.
It's a lot of fun, and like I said, it's all types of songs. So you know, some current stuff and some classics too. So
yeah, and Marcus presented on this at the virtual conference last week, so that's where I found out about it, and he was nice enough to come share with us. So thank you so much, Marcus.
No problem. Thank you, guys. Feel free to email me with any other questions. If you want to see another demo, I'm happy to do that as well. Okay.
All righty. Thank you so much. Okay, so we're going to move forward. Elliot, if you can get us back up, we're going to wrap up here. I know the hour is getting late. I did see, is Dietrich on? I don't know if Dietrich is on. We did not, I'll talk. Is he on? Okay. I will just kind of bring up Torch real quick. And Dietrich, if you're on and you want to say something about Torch, Technical Outreach Community Help, feel free to do so. But we do want to have another virtual or follow-up, I won't say another, a follow-up to the June Walk for Education that we had, AWFE. We want to follow up. We had a very informative session with about 5 schools from the area and their representatives. And we want to follow up with those same schools, and students need to know what's going to be different, you know, when they go to school. So there's a lot of questions around, you know, the pandemic and what that means for their virtual learning experience. And also there are plans to have the SAT and ACT. I think the first one, which is supposed to be Saturday, has been canceled. But we want to make sure parents and their students are staying on top of that, and they don't assume that they're going to always be canceled, because that might not be the case. So that's one thing I know for Torch, Dietrich and I talked about. And Torch often works with collegiate and pre-collegiate on common initiatives where they cross. All right, next one.
Tony, when's the next a walk for education?
I think Dee was thinking of doing it. No, he hadn't set a date yet, but I think October is the time frame, because we wanted to get it in before the free college weekend. There's going to be the free college app week That's in October. I think that's like the
Oh,
third
good.
week. And I know, I know we wanted to get it in before that, so seniors would not miss out. Seniors in North Carolina would not miss out on applying to area schools for free. All right. Are there any questions? I know we're about to wrap it up and just kind of talk about some announcements. So I think I saw people from Wait Tech. Did any of you guys have questions? The Wait Tech staff people that joined tonight? I'm trying to see if I see Michael on or others. Okay, so if you do have some, feel free to reach out to me following the session. And I know there was some interest in it started a Wait Tech chapter. Feel free to reach out to me so we can talk further about that and get that in motion. Coming up is
One thing too, we're gonna start having game nights. Region 2 Collegiates is having a game night Saturday night, and our membership chair for Region 2 Professionals will let us know when we're gonna hold game night. She's gonna do Jeopardy session and some other session. We'll go into breakout rooms.
okay.
And that's how we're gonna do it.
If you can put, I guess, start time or a link or something in the chat, Renee, that would be great.
Okay, for the collegiate one Saturday, or you want to wait for hours?
No, you can put the one in there for Saturday.
Okay, let me find that.
All right. September the 2nd, we are having an information session with Biogen. Biogen is an area biotechnology company. They want to, actually, this is just before the career fair. There's a virtual career fair coming up September 15th for NCAA students, as well as North Carolina A&T State University. They're having one the same day, September 15th, and they're both virtual. So they'll be recruiting at both of those fairs. So if you know students at those schools, make sure they go to our website and sign up for the Biogen information session. And I want to say I saw the link for the sign up in the chat, and it's also on our website, rtp.nsbe.org. They are going to be doing some hiring later this year. I think they're going to probably get some in before December, and even some more coming up in the spring. So if you know anyone that's interested in a job, looking for a job, collegiate or professional, they will also have, they'll be looking for internships. Interns, and they do have some mid-career opportunities as well. And they'll be talking about that at the session on September the 2nd. And the next one. Finally, it's a final wrap up. If you're interested in becoming a member, that's our link there. If you just want to volunteer for now and you're not ready to commit to membership, there's going to be a link in the chat for that, or either you can go to our website and go to the banner on the website for interested in volunteering. And Doug also put something in the chat if you're interested in volunteering. There's a form there. I will mention that we do have t-shirts that have been ordered. These are while supplies last. T-shirts will be $12. This is a chapter shirt. We do have our award-winning recognition on the back. I don't know if Ray has one on. Ray, did you have one on tonight? If you do, you can give us a little model of that. We will have information on the website on how you can order a shirt. And again, like I said, while supplies last, we're available. Any questions about tonight? Shoot an email to events@nsbertp.org, and we will respond to your questions. And I think this is the last slide. Is there anything else, Elliot? Is that the last one?
Just questions, and
okay.
Then that's it.
All right. Any questions from anyone on the call about anything discussed?
Tony, I have a question. I don't know if you guys did this whenever I was kicked out, but are we still doing the little sign up thing where like people use the survey to sign up for the different links or different parts of the chapter?
Oh, the committees?
In the
Yeah.
Yes,
Did I miss that? I don't know.
that is in the chat. If anybody wants to sign up, express your interest in a specific zone or committee, you can see the link in the chat, and you can just say something in the chat, and we can get back to you.
So I wasn't here when membership spoke on the benefits and things. Was it mentioned? Did you guys mention that there's also a membership committee?
I think you talked during that slide.
Okay, so I don't know that we mentioned that we do have a membership committee. If anyone's interested in joining that, we do need support there as well. And you can reach out to membership@nsbertp.org if you're interested in wanting to know more about how you can help. All right, any other questions?
We do have PayPal in case you want to pay your dues on PayPal.
Yeah. And just to kind of go off of what Tony was saying, some of our goals with membership actually this year is retention, getting more members, and basically making sure members feel included even though we're doing everything virtual. So definitely need help with that. So if you're interested, let Elliot and I know. We're here.
All right, I do appreciate it. The hour is getting late. And if you are still up for some more virtual time in front of the computer, I will mention that NSBE Create tonight is having a book. I think it's a book club review. And the first book I think they're doing is Souls of Black Folk by W. Boy. I'll see if I can find the link and put it in the chat if there's people who want to go to that. That's going on tonight as well. All right. Great first meeting of the year. Thanks everybody for your hard work in putting this together. Thank you to all of our first time members. Thank you to all of our returning members, and thank you to all of our visitors and volunteers. We appreciate it. Please stay connected with us if you want to sign up for our newsletter. That I believe is on the website as well. And if there's any questions not answered, you can email me directly at president@nsbertp.org. Have a great night and have a great weekend. Take care.